Hello everybody and welcome to the Winecast. This cast is a return to Italy and its wines and will tackle a style that I've mentioned in my casts on the Charmat method and on the Veneto, Prosecco. Though I have touched on this style, it's time to give it a little more attention, so let's dive in and get started with a look at what is probably Italy's most famous sparkling wine. Or is it a sparkling wine? Well, usually it is, but as we'll see in a moment, it can be made as a still wine, and while when it's made as a sparkling wine, it's usually made via the method that's variously called the Martinotti, Charmat, or tank method, it can also be made via a couple of other methods. It's produced primarily in the Veneto region of northeast Italy, but a small portion, less than 10%, is made in the neighboring region of Friuli Venezia Giulia. In terms of appellations producing this style, Prosecco is a protected designation and is made only in Italy under three PDO or quality level appellations: the CONEGLIANO VALDOBBIADENE Prosecco DOCG, the ASOLO Prosecco DOCG, and the Prosecco DOC. Let's look at all of this in more detail. With reference to its origins, the roots of this style are planted in the area around the city of Trieste, in the Italian province of the same name in the Friuli Venezia Giulia region. Though currently in the modern nation of Italy, this area has strong historical and cultural connections to the neighboring country of Slovenia, and, fun fact, though the name of this wine, Prosecco, looks like it might be derived from the Italian word for dry, it actually comes from a Slovene word that appears in either standard or dialectical Slovene as prosek or prosecca, and means something like a path through the woods, and that was the name of a village near the city of Trieste where both the wine style and the main grape used to produce it were thought to have originated. Prosecco is best known as a sparkling wine, and that style has its origins in the key grape used in its production, glera, that, in addition to being a relatively neutral grape in character, though still showing some nice floral and fruit notes, was a late ripening grape, and that tendency meant that harvest time for glera would be late in the year, with fermentation carrying on into the winter where cold temperatures would arrest fermentation, only to have it start up again either in the bottle or barrel when temperatures would rise the following spring. The result would be a wine with a little fizz, or as the Italians would say, a wine that was frizzante, and that was made essentially in the ancestral or rural method. However, by the late 1800s, an effort to bring both consistency and literal clarity to the wine was afoot, and sparkling Proseccos began to be made in the variously named Martinotti, Charmat, or tank method that I've covered in detail in a dedicated cast. Much of the credit for the switch to the tank method can be laid at the feet of Antonio Carpene, an Italian enologist who was the founder both of Carpene Malvolti, a production house that remains an important player in the Prosecco trade to this day, and of Italy's first wine institute, the Conegliano School of Viticulture and Enology. Though there are three separate quality appellations that produce Prosecco, there's a fair amount of overlap in terms of the grapes they use to produce this style and of the regulations for production. All Prosecco, no matter where it's made, must be at least 85% glera, a grape that, until 2009, was also known as Prosecco, with the name change being driven by an effort to limit the use of the name Prosecco to only wines made under these appellations and not to varietal wines made in other parts of Italy. Proseccos can also have up to 15% of their volume made up by a number of other grapes, specifically the local varieties Bianchetta Trevigiana, Glera Lugna, which is a distinct variety from the glera that makes up the core of these wines, Pereira, and Verdiso, as well as the international varieties Chardonnay, Pinot Nero, Pinot Grigio, and Pinot Bianco, or in French, Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, and Pinot Blanc. Though they're rarely exported from Italy, still or tranquillo Proseccos are a thing, and, with the major exception of the Prosecco DOC that allows both local and international varieties in both its still and sparkling wines, still Prosecco only allows the addition of local varieties on top of the 85% minimum glera. While most sparkling Prosecco is vinified as a fully sparkling or spumante wine, lightly sparkling or frizzante expressions are available, as well as versions made in both the traditional and ancestral methods, as opposed to the tank method in which the great majority of Proseccos are made. These alternate methods will be identified on the label, with the giveaway for the ancestral method being the phrase Prosecco col fondo, or Prosecco with a deposit, referring to the residue of lees found in the bottle of ancestral method wines. Finally, Proseccos follow the same regulated designations for sweetness and dryness that other European Union sparklers do, with Proseccos from Conegliano Valdobbiadene and from the Prosecco DOC running the gamut from brut to demi-sec, while ASOLO Proseccos also occasionally use the extra brut designation. Elevated to DOCG status in 2009 and located in the province of Treviso, in the Veneto, the Conegliano Valdobbiadene appellation, along with the neighboring ASOLO appellation, function as a sort of de facto Classico zone for Prosecco production. The appellation is named for the two principal villages within it, and the exact name on the bottle can vary depending on whether the grapes came exclusively from vineyards in one of the two villages or from both of them, so you may see either or both names. Wines that are made as full-pressure or spumante sparklers as opposed to still Proseccos or lower-pressure frizzante and col fondo wines have access to the superiore designation that you'll see frequently. The highly regarded and only subzone of Cartise in Valdobbiadene, a 260-acre, 107-hectare vineyard considered to produce top-quality fruit and regarded as a sort of unofficial Grand Cru for Prosecco, also uses a superiore designation and only produces spumante wines. In addition, the region as a whole has 43 top-quality vineyard sites, each using the designation Rive that refers to a steep-sloped vineyard and each associated with one of either 12 communes or 31 frazioni, or sub-communes that can append their name on the label along with the Rive designation that you can spot by looking for the words Rive di, or sloped vineyard site of, followed by the name of the commune or sub-commune. Like its neighbor in the Treviso province, the ASOLO Prosecco DOCG can also go by another name, COLLI ASOLANI. The climate here is a little warmer than Conegliano Valdobbiadene, imparting a slightly different character to the local Proseccos. Like wines from the neighboring DOCG, only spumante wines have access to the superiore designation. Like the Proseccos from Conegliano Valdobbiadene, ASOLO DOCG Prosecco is highly regarded, but far less is produced here than in the neighboring DOCG. The large Prosecco DOC spans two Italian wine regions, the Veneto and Friuli-Venezia Giulia, and was created in 2009 by cobbling together various pre-existing IGT regions for Prosecco production. Though it covers two Italian wine regions, most of the production comes from the Veneto region, and most of that production, by some estimates as much as 90% of all Prosecco production, comes from one province in the Veneto, the Treviso province, that also contains the two Prosecco DOCGs. The generic Prosecco DOC designation is available to still, frizzante, and spumante wines, and there is no superiore designation for Prosecco DOC. Spumante wines must be made via the tank method, so traditional method sparklers are not produced under this DOC. There are two quality subzones for this DOC, the provinces of Treviso in the Veneto and Trieste in Friuli-Venezia Giulia, and must be made from grapes grown exclusively in either of these provinces. The designation will appear on the label as the name of the province from where the grapes are sourced. So that's a lot of information about appellations and subzones, so it might repay the effort to organize all of these designations into a quality hierarchy that'll help inform you as a consumer about the level of quality you'll be getting in the wine you buy and help you make the best decisions about how to spend your wine dollar. The hierarchy for Prosecco wines, and here I have in mind the most common sparkling spumante style, can be organized into a pyramid, and I've adapted this representation from the excellent Italian Wine Scholar Unit 1 study guide published by the Wine Scholar Guild and edited by Maurizio Brogi and Lisa Airy. At the base of this pyramid would be the generic Prosecco DOC, and just above that in terms of quality would be its two subzones, Trieste and Treviso. A level above those are the two DOCGs of ASOLO and Conegliano Valdobbiadene. And occupying the top quality tier are Proseccos made from the grapes sourced from a Rive, that is one of the 43 sloped vineyard sites in Conegliano Valdobbiadene, and then a Prosecco made from grapes grown in the Cartise vineyard from that same DOCG. Thanks for joining me for another Winecast. I'm glad to be casting on Italian wines again, and look for this trend to continue for a while as I continue my study of Italian wine. That said, I like variety as much as the next guy does, so I'll slip casts in on other topics as well, and please keep sending me suggestions for such casts. If this cast was interesting or helpful to you, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and in addition to requests, please always feel free to leave your thoughts, questions, and comments. I'm your host, the Unknown Winecaster, and I'm out. Enjoy the grape, but always enjoy it responsibly.